Welcome to Generation Dragons, episode 45. We're almost there, Steve. We're almost at a full year. How are you, good sir?
Doing well, man. Still a little under the weather. Well, that's what vitamin A is for. Cheers.
Cheers.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right, good sir. I'm doing all right. Everything has just been hunky-dory. Well, I mean, it is only Wednesday as we do this recording, and Kai's been home with us this whole time, and daycare was closed, so that fun stuff. But anywho, and hey everybody, we're trying something different today. We're recording on Discord, so we're going to give this one a shot. See how this turns out. Let us know what you think. But as always, I'll do my thank yous to everybody who's tuned in over these past 45 episodes. Well, 44, now 45. Thank you very much. As always,
46, technically.
46, yes. The lost episode.
The one lost episode.
Yeah. True. But yeah, that's it. Thank you again for tuning in to our YouTube channel and listening to us on your podcasting platforms. Steve, good sir. I mean, you're dressed for the occasion. I did not. It's chilly down here in my basement, so I
can relate. I got a heater blowing on me right now.
There's so many things to say about blowing on you right now, Steve.
Have a drink or two, then we'll talk.
Yeah. But yeah, so Steve, we want to talk about Transformers, specifically G1 Transformers. Holy jumping, my camera's really throwing me off here. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the self-adjustments here. Yeah, so G1 Transformers and toys and stuff like that. Clearly, you grew up way more with the G1 toys than I did. I was just on the ass end of the G1. Yeah, I was more G2 and all that good stuff back in the day. But yeah,
more like Beast Wars, rather than G2. Or
G2 would have been like I got like the ass end of G1, and then a little bit of G2, and then I didn't really, Then it was Beast Wars.
G2 was just G1 rebranded with CGI effects to watch the episodes and edit it, but intro it, that is. So yeah.
But yeah.
Striving to save the world from the evil Decepticons, the heroic Autobots are led by Optimus Prime. He's more than meets the eye. He's a robot in disguise.
But yeah, that's it.
But yeah.
So G1 Transformers. I know, again, we've talked about Transformers multiple times on this, on our show, and we've talked about our favorite Transformers. But I want to kick it off. I'm going to hand it off to you when we talk about G1s. Galvatron, I know, is one of your favorites. Thoughts? Mm-hmm. So because he would have been, I guess, released after the movie, in and around the release of the movie.
86 line.
Yeah. So what, compare G1 him to the 86 remakes that they've been doing recently. What are your thoughts on that?
So the new ones are way better, by far. Like, the old original G1 was a clunky, it was electronic, but clunky, weird-looking gray plastic with a purple gold cannon. Yeah, it was a brutal toy. I loved it simply for a couple of reasons. I liked the way Galvatron in the movie looked way better than Megatron.
Right.
The toys are both arguably weird looking. I have to give it to G1 Megatron as the Walter P40, P50, whatever, P40. The gun looks just like a real gun. Like, it's so much better. It's still banned to this day in the States to carry on a plane, right? So, but that said, it looked like the one from the movie, kinda. I actually played with it with my grandmother. Like, nice. I have a picture of her to this day where she's like playing with me when I was young, and it was a Christmas gift for me.
Right.
So it was one of those things, and it was a pre-Christmas gift, so I played with it before I got my real Christmas gifts. My parents had this tradition, because they were always up super late and entertaining. They hated to get up early in the morning, and of course the kids, we were always trying to, can we open presents? So They would leave one gift on the foot of our bed Christmas Eve, and then we'd open it up in the morning, and that would entertain us for a while. We'd go and make our breakfast, play with the toys, and generally just ate candy, really, because it's Christmas morning. And but that's really what it is.
Nice.
Good memory with my grandma. I got a lot of time with it.
Nice.
And I liked the version of the movie. Toy it sucked was clunky.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I know with the bigger guys like Omega Supreme, you have on the list, and you've got Metroplex and stuff like that. But And even Predaking, Omega Supreme. I mean, in comparison to what the new Generations Omega Supreme is, or I guess it's not Generations, but Titans Return Omega Supreme. Obviously, the size difference. We do have a picture of Kai beside the more recent Omega Supreme, and he was smaller at the time. But
No way.
It was at your house. It was at your house. Anyways.
I forgot.
So Omega Supreme. So what is it? How much of a difference was it with the bigger G1 toys that were not?
So you got to remember, Omega Supreme came from another line, right?
Right.
Wasn't I think it was Action Master, or no, I keep saying Action Master. Micromaster, I believe, series, kind of the Robotech Macross stuff.
Yeah.
Not related to that, sorry, but God, I'm just having a brain fart. But basically, what Hasbro kind of teamed up with Takara and took over and added stories and characters. So it came kind of from that. So they had all these weird, different types of vehicles that never really mix match together. But the thing about this thing is it was electronic again.
Yeah.
It had a track. It could run around it. And then when you put it together, he could walk.
The Autobots in space! But where are the Autobots? Who cares? Decepticons are gone! Oh no, look!
It's Omega Supreme!
Introducing the Autobots Omega Supreme Defense Base. It comes with a motorized tank with flashing turret lights.
Decepticons! Counterattack Omega Supreme!
Transformers!
Omega Supreme will stop him!
Robots in the sky!
Omega Supreme is invincible!
Transformers!
The Transformers, sold separately. Batteries not included from Hasbro.
And actually, when I never had the original toy. I played with it a lot because my buddy had it.
Yeah.
And I loved it to death. I didn't get it till like early 2000s from my buddy Chris. Actually, he gave it to me as a birthday gift one year. He picked it up from wherever, and I loved it ever since. Still have it on display.
Right.
When you compare it to the new one, big differences. It's not as sturdy as the new one, not as durable for sure. It could break a lot easier.
Right.
That said, the tank is much more in scale. When you transform the new one, the tank's like this big. It's huge, and then it goes around this tiny track. Not electronically, you have to push it.
Right.
Very hollow. But as a robot, the new one just looks way better, way better. But for top 10s, that Transformer was the center of so many play sets, that we set up, so many battle scenarios. He would take the Autobots all the way from space down to the basement to back onto Earth, which was in the living room, and just mass shifting and all. We made it happen.
Nice.
And somehow the pieces would follow him wherever he went when he transformed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Good memories.
Yeah, I mean, even from what I've seen, and even what you're talking about, like the Omega Supreme this round, like Titans Omega Supreme, is a completely different style of the G1 or whatever you want to call it, Micromaster line, right? Like it just.
Yeah, I gotta double check that because I'm brain farting on it, but I know it came.
He was later, right? He was later in the series, so.
Like 85, I believe.
Right, okay.
But he was really one of the first big guys, along with Devastator. I don't remember who came first, but they're arch enemies as well.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Actually, Devastator was the Devastator G1. Was he combiner? He was a combiner. Right.
Yeah,
the same.
6
similar.
pieces. I think he was pretty sure he was the first one.
Right.
But 6 pieces to make them together. I would have put him up here over Predaking. But I was always frustrated with Devastator as a toy because he fell apart all the time.
Yeah,
Predaking was very, very solid. But, it was cool if you had it. Like, I never had the full set.
Right.
So I'd have a few, and a couple of my buddies had a few, and we'd put it together to make Devastator. Then one of my buddies got the big set for Christmas. We got all 6 guys.
Yeah.
But it was good. Can't say enough about the newer versions they're doing lately, though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not talking just about Omega Supreme or Galvatron. Any of these things, 86 series, just look phenomenal.
Oh yeah, 100%. It looks so much more. I guess technology kind of changes the way they make toys. The downfall is I'm going to jump ahead a little bit on this one, but for me it was Blitzwing. Right, that was my first G1 toy, and I think one of my only. He's a triple changer, and mother effers like made of metal. Like it was heavy duty, where everything else is, other than like the Masterclass or Masterpiece series that are out now, everything else is just plasticky, right? Where Blitzwing was metal, plastic flaps, but his body was a piece of metal.
Cast.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, and that's it for me. Like, that's one of the big ones that I could recall that I had growing up for G1 toys was Blitzwing. Was one of the only. Lost pretty much all of the pieces to it. He has got half a wing. His arm doesn't clip down. His doesn't turn into a tank. Yeah, doesn't transform into a tank. So it's good stuff. So I know you have another one on here. Is Reflector. So in the old days, G1, did he come as 3 Transformers as well?
He was 3, but you had to get him through mail order, if I remember right. You couldn't just go to the store and buy him at first. I don't know if it changed later. I never had him. On the list, I just always thought he was cool, because he's 3 guys that turn into one.
Yeah.
And I've always been kind of excited about photography. Even then, as a kid, I had like my little film camera and go practice panning and doing things. And then my parents would take the photos that get developed. Like 5 of the 24 would be okay. But I've always liked photography, so that one always attracted me.
Right.
But I never could get it. I did get Reflector later on, and I displayed that with my camera collection. But yeah, you're about to say something, do you?
Yeah. So was he branded? The old one? Do you remember if the G1 was branded like a Kodak or something like?
Oh no, nothing like that. It was just Decepticon logos, and he was called Reflector instead of Refractor.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then there's Perceptor, who was the other triple changer.
A lot of people have beef with him and don't realize he's a triple changer.
What's the beef? I don't know the beef on.
Just because he's a microscope, yay! Like in a world of warplanes and cars and stuff, tanks even. But he looked badass. He had the most, like as a robot, he had the most articulation of any Transformer really back then. Somebody could correct me, but you could bend him every which way, twist him. He turned into a tank. A lot of people didn't know that, like I was saying. But he also turned into a functioning microscope. It actually worked.
That's what I was going to ask you if he worked as a microscope. I mean,
yeah, it was kind of clunky and it's plastic, right? So, like he had metal parts, but like the actual scope, you could zoom in and out. And I remember distinctly having him at a restaurant, and putting salt on the little thing and zooming in and seeing the first time realizing they're little cubes, tiny little cubes. And
stuff. That's cool.
So I had a lot of fun with that one.
Why not? Makes sense. Made you interested in science.
Not wrong.
And then Predaking. I mean, I don't have the G1 Predaking. I've got the Titan's class, Titan Returns or whatever it is version of it. I like the way they look. I like the way your Predaking looks.
He's a kid one, but he's really big.
Yeah. But
he actually comes with an extra guy.
Right, because it wasn't the G. UK. You had to explain that story to me on that one. I don't remember.
He shouldn't have an extra guy. It's because it's KO. They added another piece. Right. I could swap out the lion for a different type of lion.
Okay.
But I don't use it because it doesn't match. I want it to look like the Transformers style.
Yeah.
So, but I picked that up at TFCon for like a steal of a deal. So
the G1 KO.
Yeah, like the big KO one I have. He's roughly scales well with the Titans. Not the Titans, or the Combiner Wars guys.
Yeah, right.
But he's still bigger than by a good, I'd say 3 or 4 inches.
Right.
Over them. And he's bulky. He's quite wide. But the only thing I find down with him is probably why I got him such a good deal. He was missing part of his sword. So it should be like this long, but it's missing the middle part.
Right.
And he's missing a gun that goes back here. So I kind of made my own and put it back there. But yeah, overall he looks awesome. No one notices unless I point it out.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But we're talking about the original one. The reason I like the original one so much, again, I didn't have all the pieces for him. Friends and we could put one together. But he was just so much more solid than the other ones. He was heavy, he was thick, he was bigger, he was easier to play with.
Right, yeah.
So So that's why I liked them. I always had a problem with Transformers that are supposed to be robots in disguise. So animals, Dinobots, things like that. Insecticons never sat well with me, but
You
sometimes
must
just
have
too cool.
hated the Beast Wars, man. You were just like,
And
fuck.
I was I was waiting for you to get there. I was hoping at the end you'd talk about it. I did at first. Right, I thought it was going to be stupid. They're ruining Transformers. Optimus Prime literally just transforms by spinning his legs around backwards. And I was like, "What?" But I gave it a chance, and the story writing was so good that I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And So you're shaking quite a bit there, man. I don't know if it's just your table.
It's just my table. Yeah, I gotta figure out another way for my camera. Skywarp and the Seekers. I know you have this on the list. Actually, I do have. I think it's Skywarp. I can't recall the G1 version of him. Blue with red on his wings. I can see him from here. But yeah,
Purple is more of a purple. Thundercracker was bluish.
Oh yeah,
like a light blue.
Yeah, I got a Thundercracker. I got Thundercracker. That's who it is. So yeah, I mean, the nice thing about those G1 toys that change from a jet to a robot is there isn't much transforming that needs to be done.
No, they're pretty easy. They're part formers, like a lot of them back then.
Yeah.
So you have to pull off like the hands and stuff, but they just look good. They're solid. The reason I put Skywarp over Starscream, because I'm sure people ask, I love Starscream as well, but Skywarp, playing with him, I used to do his actual warp, like his teleportation as a toy. I'd be like, and then all of a sudden he'd be up here. And I'm like, he had the second best power, because the original G1 line, everyone had a power.
Right.
And they just kind of stopped using those as they moved on. But like the best power was Mirage's, who could turn invisible.
Yeah,
like you're supposed to be a robot in disguise.
Yeah.
And you can't see him.
Yeah.
But like Thundercracker's power was like how loud he was. It was just crazy. I'm like, that sucks. But yeah, Skywarp just had the best Decepticon ability, I think. That's why I put him up there.
Nice. Jetfire, I know you have up here on as well. And again, I only really know Jetfire from the more recent toys. I don't have a Jetfire of the G1, but I do like the way how they've kept them very similar in design over the years, right?
Except for Armada. Armada really changed Jetfire.
Yeah.
But I like that Jetfire too, because it combined with Armada Optimus. But yeah, Jetfire, that blew me away at Christmas. I didn't know anything about Robotech back then, except for odd seeing maybe a glimpse of it on the TV at one point. So that's where they got it from. And he, to me, he just like was heavy metal, tall, big transformer. He turned into this big jet, way bigger than the Seekers. I thought he was awesome. And then I always hated that they called him Skyfire instead of Jetfire in the show. But I know now, being older, that it was all to do with copyrights and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, like he was just an awesome looking transformer. And I used him like without his pieces on, as a big robot. I emulated the episodes he was in, like the first one where you think he's dead because he gets trapped under the ice and gives up his life because they had to write him out of the show really quick, and then they fixed it and wrote him back in. But he just looked awesome, man. I still have two of them, of the new ones from Commander Class with Titan Returns. Yeah. Just because he looks so good, I wanted to display him both ways. Yeah. And I picked up one for like a dirt steal price at a clearance, so I'm like, $50 for a Commander Class? Sure, I'll grab that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%, man. 100%. So I know this next one here is definitely a important one to you, Ultra Magnus.
Huge. Yeah, he was Optimus' replacement to me.
Yeah. How did he transform in comparison, or how did he look in comparison to like the more recent toys? Like, was it very similar? Like,
way different. Not at all. Way different. So, maybe the newer ones are similar because he kind of armors up with his trailer.
Right.
So in that sense, it's the same. But when it came to the like I would say like the Titans Return or Earthrise is probably the most similar.
Right.
Because you can take all the pieces off him and he becomes just the white truck like he was before. Or you can armor him up. So in that way, they're the same. But previous ones, nowhere near the same.
No,
Like
no.
he was separate from the truck, and you combine them. The other ones are kind of like depends. Like if you went with an animated one, he turned into this military type vehicle, but
Right.
it was just one piece.
Okay,
So,
okay.
so it really depends where you went. I really like the newer one. He's done really well. I've been hoping I'd ever find him on a clearance because I want to buy him again and display him without any of the armor, like in the white
Yeah.
truck cab look or robot look. But I haven't seen him. I think one time my wife called me because saw it at Toys R Us clearance. It was at and Megatron, and I'm like, I just grabbed the Megatron because I wanted the upgraded version of him,
You're right.
and I kind of regret it now. I kind of wish I went with Ultra Magnus, but I'm still happy with the upgraded Megatron as well.
Nice. And I mean, back to the G1. We've heard. I think we've heard your story. I think we talked about it last couple of episodes ago about how he was your replacement Prime because your brother effed up Prime for you.
Yep, big time.
So yeah, how was he G1? How was he as a G1 toy?
He was my favorite Transformer for the longest time. You know, I was devastated when I lost Optimus Prime. He was always the centerpiece of my Transformer collection. Whenever we did anything, Prime always had to win, save the day, whatever it was. So, Ultra Magnus, I always thought should have been the leader, not Rodimus. I always thought that he should have been the replacement. He was bigger, always. He seemed older and wiser when you listened to him, and
Yeah.
he transformed just like Optimus Prime, but he was white. Instead of red and blue. That was really the only difference besides the trailer and armor up. He was awesome, and I was lucky because this is when they start to change the tires, and so the tires I had were rubber. My brother's were plastic.
Okay.
And then the same thing with Metroplex. My tires were rubber, his were plastic. That's how I could always tell the difference between the two. Because I just lucked out. I got the ones with the rubber tires, and it made such a difference for rolling them on surfaces. Outside didn't matter as much, but if you're inside, it did. But yeah,
I would
love
imagine.
that.
I would imagine those rubber tires probably that. If you still have that Transformer, probably holds a decent value too. I'm sure. If you were to go,
I haven't looked into it, but
yeah.
you're probably not wrong. But it would never leave me unless I got another one, and even then, not a seller usually. I'd trade her or I'd give her away.
Yeah. No, I was just thinking that. I was just thinking. Yeah. So Metroplex. Obviously, I only have the big one that took me forever to find because I decided not to buy it back in the day. But the G1 Metroplex, he's pretty solid. Like just look wise and
he
stuff.
looks amazing. I love that I could hide guys inside him and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Like you could put some in his legs and his chest. He came with 3 other Transformers. So he came with Metroplex. And then you had 6-gun. So if you took all his weapons, you could make another Transformer. He had Slammer, which was one of the towers, like the top of a tower. He turned into a tank. He wasn't really a robot.
Yeah.
And then there was, is it Scamper or Slammer? I always forget.
Scamper, I think. Scamper, I think it is.
So he was like the little black car that was supposed to kind of police the thing, and that he had like 6 tires in the back or something. If I remember, I have to pull it out. But yeah, he was just cool. He had so many things. So I used to play him a lot, like with Superion. We'd take like the aerial bots. We'd land like the helicopter on the helipad. We'd have like some of the guys come out. You had to use the smaller Transformers with him. He wasn't a good scale with, like the other ones. But man, I love that thing to death. I even used it with my Army Men. I was a big fan of Plastic Army Men back in the day. And this was like the base where they all were, and before they were being attacked. And my buddy had Trypticon. Trypticon would like walk through the Army Man, killing them all, and then I'd have to make Metroplex transform to save the day. And
you were doing crossovers before crossovers were a thing, Steve.
Yeah, that's true. I guess so because but I could never find anything that scaled well that was small enough.
Yeah.
For them, except I think sometimes the little guys that I had with Jason the Wheeled Warriors toy sets they're still a little big, but they kind of scaled well with like Prime and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're still a little big. But yeah, sometimes I'd use them, or Lego guys because they're small enough, but I hated how square they were.
Freaking squares.
I know, right? English cup of tea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, everyone knows your favorite top toy, Optimus Prime. He hasn't changed
Yeah.
much. So, okay, now I actually don't know, but did the G1 come with his trailer, or was he just the truck?
Always came with the trailer.
Yeah, okay,
So that's a newer thing you've seen with the reissues.
yeah,
Because I would have bought some of the reissues, even though I have enough of them. I would have bought when I saw that at Walmart, but and Toys R Us, but I didn't have a trailer. I'm like, meh. I
yeah,
have like 8 cabs in different states of disrepair. I don't need another one to throw into the mix.
yeah, yeah,
But if it came with the trailer, I could probably marry that trailer to one of the other Optimuses that doesn't have it.
yeah. Right. What?
So-
Yeah. So, like, what's your input with Optimus? I mean, like, again, we know you love him,
Oh,
but, like,
I fell in love with him right from the beginning. I actually never got him in the beginning. I got him at Christmas, but I wanted him so bad, and my grandparents tried to buy it for me, not knowing Transformers. They found me a GoBot called Stax. So he was a big orange with a blue trailer that was a car carrier,
yeah,
and so it could fit GoBots in it or dinky cars. But he was comparable to the size of Optimus Prime. When I got Optimus Prime at Christmas, there's this G1 episode, where it's King of the Road, so it's Optimus Prime versus Motormaster, and they slam into each other at full speed on the highway.
yeah,
And then the dust clears, and Motormaster's over, and Prime's, standing, still there. And I used to reenact that, and Stax was Motormaster at the time. Because Motormaster, if anyone ever had him, he was a lot smaller than Optimus Prime as a toy. He was just alt, right? Because they all turned into Stunticons and Menasor.
yeah.
But the toy was smaller. So I'd use those guys, and I'd be like, like in slow motion in my head, these guys would be speeding at each other. Boom, and one guy would fall over. I still have stacks in my cabinet with Transformers. He's the only big GoBot I have in there with him, simply because of how much I used them with them.
No, that's funny.
But I loved it. He's die cast, very heavy metal. Only plastic pieces were his head and hands and his smokestacks.
Right.
It came with roller. A little guy that could shoot out, actually. It came with a little fixing repair bay. So I used to set that up as like the command center. Put in broken Autobots before I got Metroplex. Metroplex became the new command center once I
Right. Yeah.
that, but I put in like broken Autobots or things like that. It's because my brother broke a bunch and friends and that, we had all like kind of a collection of broken Transformers, and I'd Frankenstein put them together like and unscrew pieces, and they wouldn't transform because they weren't meant to be with each other, but it'd be like a sweep head on an Ultra Magnus cab with this arm attached with different, like it was just bizarre, the stuff I had to do with them. But that all came from a G1 episode too, where we called Autobot Spike, where they make it like a part transformer to transfer Spike's mind in.
Yes,
people alive.
I remember that.
Yeah, but I loved Optimus Prime. He would stay in bed with me because I've always been very like a matter of place. Everything has to be in its place.
Yes.
So I could sleep with all my Transformers down the side of my bed, and they wouldn't move because I wouldn't bump them, and that way I knew they were there and protected by me. So, like, I was weird that way. And then, of course, as soon as my guard was down, I was at school where I couldn't protect them. That's when they got destroyed. But
I think that's called OCD, Steve. I think that's what that's
yeah,
called.
a little bit.
Maybe
a
just
little bit.
a little bit. Hey, if you're OCD, that's cool. You're organized. That's what that means. Yeah, I mean, so we'll swing it into the stuff that I kind of played with a little bit. I mean, for me, Beast Wars. I had Razorback, Cheetor, Optimus Prime. The Water? Who's the Buffalo guy? Now I don't remember his name.
We looked this up just recently. 'Cause he wasn't in the show or anything. That's why I never remembered him.
No, but I still actually you gave me an Optimus Primal that was missing pieces, broken, stuff like that. I got the reissue, which the one nice thing that I have to give to the Netflix series and stuff like that, and the toys that they've released with the Netflix series. Holy crap! How much they align and look like the old ones.
100% agree with you.
Like it's
great.
crazy. Like we have a Cheetor that my buddy gave us a few years ago, but it's from the 2000s, and it was the Japanese version of it, and he's exactly like the Cheetor that we have from more recent. Rat Trap is another one. He was in a big one that I had. But yeah, I mean, I know you weren't a big guy. The way they transformed him in the TV series was pretty ridiculous. But the way they look now and the way they transform is so.
I love them now.
They're so good.
Yeah, I grew to love them, right? Like,
Yeah.
'cause I looked forward to the show, but when you saw the previews and the toys and everything like that, and I think even the comic, I don't remember if I got that or not. But I just like, the hell, man, he's a monkey.
Yeah,
He's supposed to be a truck. Like, but gorilla is what he really was, and but yeah, I grew to love him. But I remember the stuff I'd complain about, like, how does Megatron do anything? He doesn't have hands. He's got a jaw and a stabby thing, his tail. but yeah, no, like I said, I grew to love it and love the storyline. It really was well written.
Yeah.
Like, compared to G1 Transformers, definitely designed to sell the toy to kids.
Yeah.
And the stories were goofy and kiddie, and the PSAs were there, but it was a little bit more mature to watch Beast Wars. Like, it wasn't dark or anything, but the writing was a lot more solid.
Yeah, it was written for like 12-year-olds versus 7-year-olds or 8-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, and the toys themselves, the way, again, it was in the time frame when they started making more toys were more articulate and so articulate, but you could move them. Like, that articulate is talking. Okay. But you know what I mean? Like
another one, man.
Yeah,
It'll help.
I will. But yeah, that's it. Like, I like the toys. The design, the sizing, and all that stuff. Like, they get very similar to. Kept it to what it was in the TV series, right? So, like, Dinobot and Megatron and Optimus Primal were all, like, sized correctly, right? I mean, Rat Trap, he was a giant ass rat, or but that and Waspinator too, but
I was totally shocked, and I still don't understand this to this day. Like, I've read the stories in the comics and why they're so much smaller than the G1 Optimus, like the G1. So when they first find the Ark, they get it, and you first see Optimus Prime. He's about to get his head blown off by Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron.
Yeah.
He's like this big to Optimus's head.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? He's supposed to be a T-Rex. T-Rex were huge.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, why is he so small? And, so I never got that part, but like, I do understand, like, they're supposed to be descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons, and so they're Maximals and Predacons, but they're more energy efficient, smaller than this. And I'm like, sure, I get that, but, like, the Transformers were all the way around for millions of years, and they couldn't come up with that sooner. Like, they sat on Earth for 4 million years, and they already fought for way more than that before. And they joined the community again, and they're still fighting as status quo after 4 million years.
Yeah.
Like, Shockwave, what the hell did you do?
Yeah. You haven't figured your shit out yet. What the hell, guys? What the hell? But yeah, man, I mean, that's it. I think that's, like, for me, that's what it was, right? So, Steve, good sir, I know we wanted to give this Discord a shot and seemed to work, so hopefully...
Yeah, we're at the 30-minute mark, so...
Yeah, I mean...
It'll look good.
And if it comes out in the next couple episodes, we'll open up a Discord server, and, obviously we'll probably have nobody join us, but if you do join us, feel free. We'll let you know. We'll give you kind of our pre-warning of when we're going to record, and jump on the Discord server to see if we're around. But yeah, anyways, Steve, good sir, it's always a pleasure chatting with you, as you know.
Good to catch up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big games coming out this week. Big games. I mean, for me, Pokemon comes out on Friday, and so does the Uncharted remasters. So I'm looking forward to those. Not going to get the Uncharted one, but definitely looking forward to Pokemon. But yeah, man. Well, Steve.
I guess so. Last thing before you get off, maybe we should talk a little bit, not today, but next episode or two, about Sony's new online service, like Game Pass. I think it's called Spartacus.
Huh?
Yeah. Check it out.
I'll have to look, because I know there's a bunch of stuff that's been kind of flukes have been popping up, like getting your trophies for PS3s popping up on your PS5 and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I've seen stuff like that. I'm not quite ready to believe any of the rumors until stuff comes out from Sony. So if it's not Sony blog, PlayStation blog, I don't believe it.
So that's just it, because I just read like a few headlines. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if it's going to be a thing. But if it's called Spartacus and it's supposed to, I wonder if that's just the code name, because I didn't dive deep into it. I'm just like, oh yeah. But if that's their thing to answer Game Pass, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the one big thing is there has been a lot of flukes that have kind of popped up recently on the PlayStation Store. So PS3 and PS4 games popping up on the PS5, or PS2 games coming up on the PS5 that you're able to purchase, like just stuff like that weren't available on PS5 before.
Yeah.
Have popped up. People's trophies from PS3 have kind of popped up too. All these kind of crazy things, the PS Now cards coming off shelves and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, they're doing something. The question is what are they doing?
Yes, exactly. So future episode to keep our eyes out for and see what.
Yes, sir. Well, maybe over the next week we'll have something more. We'll find out when we get there. And if next week when we start recording, maybe that could be what our conversation's about. Let's just wait and see, good sir. Wait and see.
All right, man.
Well, Steve.
As always.
As always.
Keep collecting.
Keep gaming.
Keep safe. Man, we always screw that up. But it's fun trying.
It was so close. We were so close.